In today's video, I'm going to give you the ultimate guide so you can play better, get more kills, and rank up a lot quicker. If you find this video helpful, be sure to like the video and maybe even share to a friend, and let's get right into it. Okay, now sensitivity is probably the most important part of Siege, because if your settings are not right, you're going to be looking like E2 smooth or somebody that just can't aim. And even though like this game is a strategy game, it's an FPS. You have to be able to win your gunfights. So let's try to get you the right sensitivity. So I'm going to pick somebody that has relatively easy recoil, being Sledge. Now, Sledge is great because the LA, once again, doesn't have a lot of recoil. And it will tell me if your sensitivity is either too slow or too fast. So I'm going to put my sensitivity down by literally a lot. And I'm going to show you what recoil looks like when your sensitivity is too slow, like your horizontal and vertical being, of course. So notice that the recoil is popping up. I can't even track on this sensitivity. I'm having to use all the motion of my arm. If you're on a controller and you're playing on a controller sensitivity, literally test it the same exact way. Now let me show you what happens when my sensitivity is too fast and I'm controlling recoil. It's almost like the recoil goes down. So a good rule of thumb, if your recoil looks like this and it's going up, your sensitivity is too slow. Also, like if it's too fast, it goes down. Now you can start to see if your sensitivity is almost there, your recoil should look like this. Now let's go ahead and tweak it. So let's go from the very slow sense and try to tweak it from there. Now, something you're seeing right here is the recoil pattern looks pretty tight. But the problem is you're not able to track. And it's a pain in the butt. So you need to find a good common ground where you're able to track people, but also control the recoil nice and well. Because then from there, it's just building up muscle memory. So I went 28-28. Recoil is pretty good. But the problem is, tracking is when it becomes an issue, right? Because if I'm trying to flick over here, it's going to take a lot of my control to do so. And I don't want to have to un-ADS and re-ADS every single time. So from here, I'm going to just go ahead and turn it up a little bit. Let's say 31. Now, my first shot recoil is popping up a little bit. So I'm almost having to overcompensate my recoil and adjust. So I'm actually going to turn it down. So it looks like 29 is a good base ground for me. In terms of ADS sensitivity, guys, one thing I would suggest is test it as well. For example, I'm on 59. Let's put it on 19. Let's see what it looks like. I can't even track anybody on this. Recoil is popping up like there's no tomorrow. Let's go to 32. I can still feel it trying to go up. So I'm going to keep turning it up and keep adjusting from there. Let's try 46. Okay, but the problem is tracking too slow. If I'm trying to go from here to here, I'm going to have to basically under adjust or over adjust. And let me show you the ADS sensitivity aspect of this. So I'm going to go over here on the dummies. I'm going to put, big balls. I'm going to put everything random, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. Let me show you what it looks like when your ADS to sense is too slow or too fast. Now, notice how I'm trying to track his head and I'm going clearly before his body. This means that it's too slow. Now, on the flip side, if your sensitivity or ADS sensitivity, is too fast, let's go 153 just for a random example. Look what happens when I try to track it. It might look all right to you guys, but I'm going back and forth from behind him and then in front of him because of how hard it is to track. It's going to be hard to go from him, as you can tell when I'm shooting. I can't even hit him, to another person. So from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to find that sweet spot. Put in a random number that's not too high or too slow. Let's say 76. I think it's going to be too fast, but let's see. Now, it might actually be too slow. But once again, this is a muscle memory type thing. So it might look too fast or too slow, But if I'm able to go from him to another person like I am, I think I just found my new ADS sense. And then from here, what I'm going to have to do is just build up my muscle memory. Because sensitivity is a very, very, very important part of Siege. But it's not something that you're going to change the settings right away and see immediate results with perfect tracking, perfect readjustment, all of that. You need to build up muscle memory for your sensitivity, and that's why a lot of people say you shouldn't swap sensitivities very often. So that is how you find your horizontal and vertical sensitivity and your ADS sensitivity and how to adjust it. Because a lot of you guys, especially console players, your sensitivities are either way too slow or way too fast. If you copy a pro player or content creator sensitivity and you want to try to, play on that, adjust it to your liking. It's a good rule of thumb to maybe go ahead and try Bolo sensitivity, but you need to adjust it to your liking because you're not Bolo, you're you. You're Johnny, you're Mikey, you're Serena. The hell am I saying? Okay, another important part about Rainbow Six Siege is the settings. I know it seems very minor, but if you guys go ahead, jump in this game, and especially if you're on PC, your graphic settings can be way out of whack. So let me go through all the settings that I think you should have and why I have them. Okay, ping communication wheel. If you have this off, you're smoking. You need to have ping on because if somebody's Z pinging or they're trying to communicate, that being on. Performance metrics. I don't remember if this is on console. I haven't played my console in like about a month, I think. But I have minimal metrics. Basically, all it shows me is the bottom left, how much FPS, ping, all of that. It's really up to you. Connectivity feedback. This is more about like if you're getting like FPS drops or packet loss. I just have it on default, so it shows the text and the icon. Because to be honest, I don't really know some of these icons, what they actually mean. So it's good to see that it says FPS, for example. Stun glare, I have it on white. Now, some people might have it on dark. Personally, I just like the white effect overall because, it feels like I'm actually being flashed. But some people do use the dark. When blinded, it just goes black. I don't know. Personal preference, once again. Tinnitus SFX. So basically, when you're stunned, it's the different effects. So you'll have a ringing sensation basically in your ear. It'll just ring. You can have it muted, or you can have like a wave. I like the muted because I don't like getting flashed. Kind of annoying. So next up, we have cycle inside camera groups. I have it on, so you're able to basically... It says when watching the last camera of group, navigating to the next one will bring back the first camera of this group. I have it on. I find that's the best. Diffuser pickup, you should definitely have both on because basically diffuser pickup, if you have it on automatic, you just pick it up by walking over it. Manual, you'll literally interact with the diffuser. You have to like look at it basically or just hover over it, then press a button. And then both, you can do both. Like, it's great. I love that. Visible throw trajectory. I don't see a reason why you would have this off, personally. Literally, all it is, it's the line when you're throwing something like a C4, a gadget, etc. Definitely. Drone after prep, keep it on manual so you stay on your drone. Because there's a lot of times where I'll be on an account that has it on automatically, and I'll exit the observation tool, like, for example, a drone when the round starts, and my drone gets shot because I couldn't move it. Or if a teammate needs me on a pre-placed cam at the start of a round, if I get off it for that slight second, somebody's going to run on by and kill my teammate, and they're going to be mad. Match replay on. Text chat channel. I'm not going to lie. So most of you guys need to have this off or just have it on team because you guys type too much. HUD, I have everything just on and normal because I don't know. I don't see the reason why having things off. It says bans are off for the updates and the match feedback, but besides that, everything else is on. Audio, though. I have my dynamic range on low. The difference between low and high, from my knowledge, is low is night mode, high is hi-fi. And basically, it gives you a good dynamic range explanation over here on the right. To sum it up, gunshots and explosions when it's on high sound realistic, while enemy movements are dynamic and responsive. Low, it compresses volume by lowering the loudest sounds, such as gunshots and explosions. This reduces immersion and realism, but helps avoid too much audio. It's basically like on high with hi-fi, you'll hear things loud as hell, man. and especially the loudest the loud will be loud, and it's very overstimulating, at least for me. So having it on low is perfect in my opinion. Tinnitus, once again, I have it on muted. Master volume, personal preference, I have it on 63. I have maximum voiceover presets. There's a lot of cool voice lines that they added this season, so just having that on, that's how you hear it. Make sure that your display monitor is the primary monitor that you want to use, and make sure your refresh rate is maxed. Now, I use borderless, so I'm able to move my cursor from monitor to monitor without having to tab out. It just makes it easier. Make sure you're on the highest resolution as well. I use aspect ratio 3:2 or 16:10. It really depends on how I'm feeling that day. I have VSync off, and I have FPS limit off, which actually having FPS limit at max would be preferred. The reason why I have it off though, guys, is because I use an Elgato. So the Elgato is 144, my monitor is 240, and it's kind of like bypassing if I just have it off. I don't know, man, it's weird. My field of view is on 87, and everything else, HUD and menu display is maxed, and then my brightness is 67. Now, graphics I have on plus boost, and then this is kind of not fully adjusted yet, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I had, what's it called? I had, I think, like FXAA on, and I lost like 100 frames. I don't know what's going on, but I have the most important things that's on high should be definitely shadow quality, so you're actually able to see people's shadows, and I have reflection quality as well. Overall, I have a 4090, so I can run higher, graphics. If I was you guys and you're running like a medium to low end PC, or if you're streaming off the same PC, I would say medium to low with reflection high. Drone speed boost, I have it on hold instead of toggle. I said toggle. Raw input, I don't remember if they fixed raw input, by the way, guys, but I have it on for some reason. So my sensitivity is 2929 right now, with this being my ADS sense. I actually need to turn up my 3.5. What the heck? Just go ahead. I have mouse scroll wheel disabled. I noticed a lot of times I would end up just misclicking it because of the way I hold my mouse. And then advanced deployment on gadget and drone, just because I hate being forced into an animation when I'm throwing out either a gadget or a drone, and sometimes you misclick or put your finger off the mouse or keyboard, and you just aim is on hold, and then lean is on toggle. Toggle, basically you press E and then you unpress it, and then you're still leaning that way. That's basically all it is. Sprints, I have it on hold as well. Crouch is on toggle, same with prone, and walk is on hold as well. I don't have my controller settings on this account because I don't play PC on a controller. Privacy, it's all personal preference. And then optic opacity, I have it on 54. I like to swap between blue or turquoise and red because I find that those colors aren't very common in most maps. Unless you're playing cafe, everything's very red. I said shishe. Screen shake intensity, turn it off. Literally, unless you love that realism aspect. It kind of just messes with your aim, I find. Motion blur, I do have it on. So my team color is blue, enemy team is red, and then I just have the chat scale to 97. So those are all the settings I have, but I do have one little, I'm not going to say like Easter egg, but if you guys are on a NVIDIA GPU, I have a 4090, so I have NVIDIA. If you open up control panel here, guys, and you wait for it to load, if you're on an AMD card, I'm pretty sure your software can do something like this. But basically, this is the main reason why my coloring looks like a little bit more vibrant. For some reason, the video control panel isn't loading. Nice. First of all, make sure that your resolution is in the max resolution in your resolution. But you head over to adjust desktop color settings, and I put digital brightness up to 80. This basically just makes everything look more vibrant. Of course, don't go below 50 because everything will look desaturated. But yeah, it makes it a lot easier for enemies to be, seen, and it just, gives a different vibe to the game. Something I see a lot of people overlooking this season is the way that operator bans work. A lot of people will just R6 track the enemy team and they'll ban off that, which that can work. But in my personal opinion, I found the most successful right, would actually be making the enemy's lives hell by banning operators based on the map and the site. Since attackers can basically 6-pick and just change any attacking operator that they're going to bring, they can adjust very easily. So it would be a lot better to make their life hell by banning crucial operators that make attacking maps like, let's say, Clubhouse. Habana is usually one of the most effective operators on that map on every single site. At some point, you're going to have to use her. So banning her is just one step closer to making the attacker's life a little bit hellish, and they would basically have to do more work. Operator selection is super important this season because my last point was all about banning operators. On attack, you're going to see less hard breaches be available because depending on the map, Habana and Ace and even Thermite is sometimes banned almost at all times. So you really want to emphasize using secondary hard breach more efficiently and bringing secondary EMPs because you're going to see so many more of those specific bans depending on what the site is. Also, on the defender side, you should be bringing different offset operators instead of, let's say, Vigil, who is a primary roamer. Mozzie is one of the most underrated defenders in the game, and I am not seeing enough of him played. So if you guys want to get ahead of the curve, I really suggest using Mozzie because you're going to have so much map control presence. You're going to be able to actually take control of drones and kill their drone economy all in one go just playing this operator. Map control is king. It doesn't matter if you're attacker or defender, you need map control. On the defensive side, your main objective is to always, and I mean literally always, contest the attackers from taking as much map control so they can get a safe plant. And as an attacker, your main goal is to get as much map control as quick as possible since the clock is literally running against you. As an attacker, you have all these gadgets and utility to take map control, whether it's the operator or just drones. You got to do this as quick as possible, and your main goal should always be take map control to try to execute a plant because that gives you a goal for your team instead of just going for all 5 kills. Because if you were going for all 5 kills, you're not going to be successful majority of the time in plat and up ranking. First, let's talk about attacking and how to attack properly and maybe even identifying gaps. Now, what a gap is, it's a hole in the defensive side where they're either doing a very stupid setup or nobody's even holding a specific part of the map that's prominent to whatever site they're holding. For example, on this clubhouse round, we're attacking basement. And as you know, basement is a very tricky site for a lot of players if they don't play in a team coordination. The reason being, because most of the time, instead of just going for the hatch and dirt and maybe even all the hatches around, they will spend way too much time overcommitting, trying to clear out the entire map and try to find roamers. You don't want to do this. You want to pick and choose your battles when it comes to clearing roamers. If the roamer is, let's say, if we're playing clubhouse, if he's sitting in the kitchen, then yes, you do have to clear him since the hatch is a very prominent part of the attack. But majority of the time, this isn't how people play clubhouse. This specific player did not play kitchen, and he was actually roaming upstairs holding main stairs. To be honest, I can let him sit there beating his meat, and I can just put a body outside kitchen hallway just watching that. And that's exactly what we did this round. I wanted to see who was holding dirt, and if there was nobody in there, that might be a gap. And what I found was super surprising. The enemy quite literally had one of the worst defensive setups, being reinforcing off, blue, and castle barricading. Keep in mind, I'm in champ ranking on console, and people are still doing dumb stuff like this all the time.
He's bottom main stairs. Yeah. Like halfway. He's still main. Like, yeah, he's moto now.
Drone activated.
Don't go meat. Nobody's meat. Nobody's kitch. Yeah, we have a ram. I'm just gonna go for fucking dirt then.
Damn, Castle's just playing box 3.
He castled dirt.
Oh, no one's grabbing the hat? Oh.
I could ram it.
We have a whole ass fucking Habana.
She's just taking her sweet time. Don't know what I was expecting.
Yeah, he's on the B-bomb, bro. Nobody's dumb. One's dummies, but it's reinforced off. Yo, castle. Yeah, go, go, go,
It
go.
was castle. I'm tracking that
Yep.
castle. Oh, they hit. Oh.
You have to try to get the man advantage as quick as possible, especially when it comes to site. Even if you're not at an overall man advantage, like let's say it's a 4v5, if 3 of those people are off site and there's 4 of you guys executing onto site, it's going to be super easy to win that round just based off of man advantage, because you can just kill the people on site and then have a power position being ready to plant. In terms of man advantage and numbers, I want to talk about when you're at a man disadvantage. So on the same map, I don't know what's going on with these clubhouse clips, but on the same map, we're in a 2v5 situation. I'm Habana. My teammate is just, he's like, okay, GG's, we lost type of vibe. But the reality is, I never think we lost until we actually lost the round. Because every single round is salvageable as long as you put the effort in and actually try. This goes into my next point about tempo. Basically, what tempo is, it's the speed of how you're attacking, defending. It's basically how you're aggressing. Now, in a 2v5 situation, I have a lot of time on the clock in this round, and I realize that. I know the enemies are going to be super hungry because it's ranked, and they're just going to want to go for these frags on us. This is great because they're going to take stupid gunfights and basically just give me ones. Now, if you don't know what ones is, it's basically just meaning 1v1s. So usually if you're in a huge man disadvantage and you're in a 1v5, the enemies are going to be running at you like chinchillas running for food. I don't have a good, I don't even know if that's good. Like if chinchillas go for food, I don't think they do. Are those little mouse rat things? So the tempo here, we're going to play it really slow, and we're basically baiting them like a little fish. We're throwing some bait in the lake to try to get a bite. And luckily these enemies, like most ranked players, are going to go for the bait.
Plant.
Blue, I'm gonna die here though.
No, you're good.
Blue.
You're good. Like I said.
They're going to swing us, they're going to take off gunfights, and there's no refrag value because they're not setting up how players are supposed to be played. And this goes into our advantage. Each one of those enemies did not have a single refrag value, and they just gave me ones, which I was super happy to do because I was like, yippee, free frags. And this round is a demoralizing round from the defensive side because they did almost everything right up to the 2v5. They got multiple frags, they had so much utility left over with the pulse, with the tubby, like they could have done so much. But instead, they got super hungry, took off angles, and it was so easy to just predict what they were doing. Especially them just shooting random stuff. Like, for example, the Tubby. I immediately knew that he was back Arsenal, and then we had the information about the Frost being blue. They let my teammate literally walk in and just plant. And this kind of goes into my next point about how you can improve your defensive rounds. The example I'm going to show you next is going to be a cafe round where my teammate is literally fighting for his life on site. We have cams in sight. We're getting active red pings on literally each one of these people. And you're going to see my Legion having the slowest rotate of his life. And this is something a lot of people just do way too much. They don't know when to position themselves better or just rotate back on the site. And I don't know, it's like this Legion was playing to lose at this point, because even after Legion kills one person, we're still giving red pings about where the last person is, and he's not aggressing. You need to be able to act off that information instead of just letting the attacker basically just sit there and just be red pinged, because all that information that you're relaying is dead within a few seconds.
So.
Mel.
Or small. I don't know why I keep calling it new. Oh, I'm having a oh no, don't stand up. Oh god. Oh, okay, maybe Velko get good timing. Velko got good timing. Velko got good timing. Watch. Oh, where's Legion? Oh, he's good. He's good. Oh, this guy can't fall through. He can't fall through. Oh, timing. Oh, dude, these guys are fucking lost. He's planning to fucking. Oh, that's one forping. Oh, that's a bad forping. He's stuck to the corner. He's stuck to the fucking corner. Bro, where is he looking? my fucking god! What is happening? Bro?
Has been pinged almost the entire round.
Ah! What the fuck?
So a good rule of thumb for defenders, if you get a pick or you get a bunch of drones and you destroy them, you're killing their drone economy, rotate back to site. You don't need to over-dedicate the majority of your round roaming into nothing if nobody's pushing into you. And that's the problem with a lot of players, especially on console. For example, this Legion on Cafe, who was he contesting? Because there was a solid 30 seconds of my teammate literally just getting back shots from the enemy, and then Legion is over there dilly-dallying by VIP, just chilling, hanging out, all scared to even like make any noise. Sometimes you just need to have urgency, and you need to have a piece of like a proper point of view to be like, okay, my teammate, where's he positioned? Okay, he's in kitchen. Okay, we're left in the 2v2 or 2v3. There's like 5 seconds left. Maybe I should rotate back to site instead of, you know, beating my meat over here on bottom white. Have a purpose with whatever you're doing. You need to ask yourself when you're attacking, in especially defending, what is my purpose right now? What am I fulfilling in the round that's actually helping my teammates or contesting the enemies? Because if you can't answer that and give a good answer, you're doing something completely wrong. And if I was at Legion, I would have thought about that and been like, okay, I need to rotate back to site a lot sooner. I need to see what is happening. There's a lot of red pings coming out. Okay, maybe I should try to act off the information. Because all defense is once again contesting map control. And if you're just dilly-dallying, roaming 2 floors above, site is basement, there's 10 seconds left, you're the problem. Swinging off momentum and just acting off information is a gold mine for free kills. For example, on this Lion round on Theme Park, I ate up just based off of my callouts, but more or less because I felt almost like in a flow state. And that might sound corny for a lot of you guys, but it's very true. Whenever you're doing something where you're so focused, you're so passionate, sometimes you just feel it, and every single play just works. But more importantly, it's just not being stagnant. You're not just sitting there on a rappel waiting for the enemies to swing you, because the majority of the time they won't, because they don't have to. So you just got to make a play sometimes. And if it doesn't work, then that's totally okay, because that is what Siege is about. It's a trial and error type game, and as long as you have the intention of playing smart and acting off information, there's nothing wrong with just going for gunfights. Because if you have the information, you more or less should go off of that and kill them if they're close to where you're trying to enter. And that's totally okay. Something I want to kind of punch into your guys' heads is enjoy yourself. Have fun with Siege. It is a video game at the end of the day. But the reason why I'm saying this more than anything is because when you have fun and when you enjoy stuff and when you're, you know, locked in like that, then you're going to probably win because you're a lot more relaxed. You're not stressed out. You're not angry. You're not molding at your teammates. Like, you need to have fun first because it is a video game. You guys aren't pro players, and the most you're going to learn is when you're in this flow state. So don't worry about operators or maps or site setups too much. You need to learn how to experiment, because that's usually when you get the best rounds, is when you're experimenting different strats. And most of the time, those type of rounds will throw off your enemies. I've tried the stupidest stuff against pro players, and it's worked. And sometimes it just hasn't. And that's okay, because I've learned so much just from playing this game that it's not that deep. At the end of the day, it is not that deep. Like, one day we're all going to die. And imagine you reflected on your entire life, just watching and all the times you played Siege, and the amount of times that you were pissed, you were angry, you were disappointed because you didn't play well. Like, these days are going to go fast, and especially if you're a teenager right now, man, you're in a very good place in your life right now being a teenager, because you have the time to enjoy it with your friends. So bask in those moments, enjoy the time that you're playing, and more importantly, just don't take stuff too serious, man. Like, have fun, because no matter what you do and no matter how passionate you are, you need to be enjoying what you're doing. So it doesn't matter if you're playing a video game, playing a sport, you know, you need to have enjoyment to enjoy that passion. Besides that, guys, I hope this kind of helped you a little bit with understanding how Siege is as a whole. And it is a video game, but there are so many different levels of strategy that's involved, and these are just things that I notice players have a huge problem with attacking and defending, because map control is king, and I thought it'd be good to just break down some games. Now, if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure that you guys like, sub, and comment, and let me know down in the comments what are some things you would like to see in the future me talk about in these types of videos. Now, guys, if you made it to the very end, comment onion chips, or just whatever your favorite chips are. Personally, all dressed, but I'm also Canadian, so, hey.